Greetings. I am so glad that you're here tonight because this is going to be kind of an interesting show. I just got back Monday from Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and Lori Dorsey and I met in Atlanta and flew up there together for my favorite conference on the planet, the Ozark Mountain UFO Conference. And I am just thrilled to say that that was every bit as good as I would ever expect it to be, which is amazing. You know, that has been my favorite conference since I started going to them. I went there the first time before I was part of Fate magazine, and now I am lucky enough to get to go pretty much when they have them. It's UFOs. It is unusual things. We got to learn a lot about pyramids while we were there this year. And we're going to talk about that too, because I'm telling you, some of the things, I'm always shocked by what I didn't know. And every time I go to this conference, there's something new, something I've not heard of before, something that is going to just blow my mind. It happens every time. My favorite part was that I got to see Kathy Martin again. And she has been down a rough road. She's back. She is a good person. And someone attacked her, physically attacked her, threw stuff over her. And you don't get to do that, okay? Not with no repercussions. This person is going to have some lifelong repercussions because what they threw on her was terrible. And this was after she had been sick forever and a day. So, Kathy, we love you. I'm so glad that you're better. It was brilliant to see you and your presentations. Amazing. Now, I'm going to bring in Lori Dorsey. But before I do, I have to tell you that we were both blown away by the experience we had. And I'll let her start us off with that. So here's Lori. Maybe. There you are. So, how goes it with you, my friend?
Busy day. I'm still down here in Georgia
Yeah.
with the grandsons, and just enjoying the outside because it's warm here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And been goofing around the pool and helping getting that cleaned up, ready to go. And yeah, it's just hanging out with the grandsons and having fun. And got to see a soccer game yesterday, and yeah, it's just been a good time.
Well, I'm really glad because you needed to be away from that cold. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah,
I really don't. And for all of my friends that live in the North, bless your hearts. I don't know how you do it. And that's a good bless your heart, just so you know.
mhm.
Every time I say bless your heart to somebody up there, they're like, I know what that means. I'm like, not always. Sometimes it just means bless your damn heart.
Mhm.
So,
Good luck.
and yeah. So you're
Mhm.
back in the grandma groove.
Yes.
I too am in the grandma groove. We went for a baseball game last night, which, you know, I love little kids baseball and football. Not so much fan of cheerleading because I had two cheerleaders and it's like, I'm not a free girl. So somebody else always had to do their hair.
Yes.
I got to where I could do the ponytails okay. And it's funny because if I was traveling,
Mhm.
because I had to with my work, but if
Mhm.
I was traveling, the teacher and the cheer coaches always knew it because David was very good at ponytails, but sometimes they were here, sometimes they were here, and sometimes they were here. So
At least you.
he used to get me so tickled with that. But we're very blessed women,
Yeah, very
without
much.
a doubt.
Yeah, yeah. I get to spend time with the two here in Georgia, and then I get the two in Ohio, and I get to see them quite a bit when I'm home. So I try to come down here as often as I can. So
Yeah.
it's just fun hanging out with them and catching up and see what's going on and see how school is. And I
And you've
do
been seeing some sports too.
soccer. This is the first year they've tried soccer. It's usually they've done baseball, but this year they wanted to try soccer. They're really enjoying it. Alex is they're getting him showing him how to be a goalie. He's pretty fast on his feet and he can block the stuff. And AJ is super fast. Good Lord. He gets that footwork down. He can fly down that field. I'm
Well, it's just a matter of learning to dribble while you're wide open.
hmm
And that comes with time.
practice. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We, some friends, I may have told you this before, but some friends of mine and my daughter had played soccer at a different facility, and my friends decided that we must start our own soccer league in our little bitty town outside of Birmingham.
Mm,
And I'm like, none of us know anything about soccer. This is a football town and state. I mean, Alabama, hello.
yeah.
Yeah, soccer's a commie sport, right? So that was the take on it. So we went to the city council. We kind of did a rise up moment in
hmm
a council meeting, and we got access to football fields and soccer. And so I was basically coaching four and unders,
Oh, okay.
which is a lot like herding cats.
hmm Yeah,
And it was hilarious.
I'm sure it was.
So it was me coaching one side of the four and unders and a football coach coaching the other team of four and unders.
hmm
They did not win our first game. We did. And it was because they were like, you know, run and be strong and run and be strong. And I'm like, run
hmm
with the ball, run
hmm
with the ball, dribble the ball. Let's
hmm
say, can you kick it over to Zara? Can you kick it back to Asha? Can you,
Oh, yeah.
And so ball skills won.
Especially in that sport.
Yeah,
And
it was
learn how to
hilarious and
throw
a lot of
it.
fun.
Yeah, how you throw it in. You have to have both feet on the floor and on the ground. You have to have your hands above your head, and the ball has to go behind. And
Hmm.
you cannot do a basketball throw.
No, got to
Yeah.
have both ends.
hmm And that's the hardest thing for those kids
Yeah.
playing basketball.
Well, and well, basically it's basketball with no hands.
hmm
It really is.
hmm
And it took a while.
hmm
It did take a while. And it was I really came to love the sport. I don't like watching grown men act like sissy babies when they're doing stuff. Oh my God, my fingernail, I got broken fingers. No, you don't. Get up and play.
Yeah.
My 4-year-olds were tougher than that.
hmm Oh,
So,
oh, yeah.
but I am like that when it comes to SEC football. Not gonna lie. But especially now that we have teams that should not be in the SEC, but that's my own personal opinion.
Right.
But I'm so glad that we get to have those times with our grands, but I'm so glad that we get to have
Play.
girl time.
Get to play.
We do. And, you know, this was your second Ozark conference, right?
Yes. It was. The first one was
Three
uh,
years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah. It was interesting. It was very for me. It was overwhelming because I did not have any inkling of anything when it came to um, UFOs.
The
Uh,
first time or this time?
the first time, I mean, it was rather mind blowing. This time, I was impressed, but I wasn't overwhelmed because
Right.
of the other one. The first one was for me was overwhelming because of all the theories and really thinking out of the box. And I just sat back and listened because I try to stay open minded, but yeah, they take it to the edge.
Not so much your brain falls out.
No,
Right.
but I like to sit and listen, especially when it comes to the experts, you know, in this field, the UFO, um, you know, experiencers, and you know, they have first hand knowledge of what's going on, and the military people that came forward and was explaining how many, since they've had that what is that, Freedom of Information Act,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
all the cases, you know there's so many more cases of crashed UFOs than what I was ever aware of. I
Well,
mean,
the first one, well, I don't know, and Carl might can tell me if Cape Girardeau was pre Roswell. I think it was, yes, because Charlotte Mann was a child, and I've been so blessed to get to hang out with her.
hmm
Because a lot of times when you're backstage and everybody's just kind of chilling or doing metaphysical bending of spoons and stuff like that, which I still love.
right.
Um, it's really cool because Charlotte is older. I think she's in her 80s,
Oh, okay.
or but she was my first time to ever hear about the Cape Girardeau crash. She was a child. Her dad was a minister.
hmm
There was a craft crash. The police came and got her dad. And for whatever reason, she went with him. I mean,
Oh,
she was a wee child.
yeah.
And her dad was basically, you know, giving final blessings. Thank you, Carl, 1941. Um, was giving final blessings to beings that were not humans.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, it was wild.
Yeah.
And for me, that was also where I met Calvin Parker for the first time.
Oh, okay.
So he and his sweet wife and I spent a lot of meals together, getting to know each other, and because we all sound alike. He's from Biloxi, but you know, there's so much.
Yeah.
There is so much that happens in that environment, and you just don't know
Right.
what you don't know until you get exposed to it.
Yeah. And
And
there
you
was a
kind of
lot
hit
of
that.
illustrations. Yeah, there was a lot of illustrations this time for the down crafts and
Hmm.
the description, and then they put it into like AI, and they
Hmm.
raised it and made it look, you know, like real. I mean, it was it was kind of wow, you know,
Yeah.
saying there were, three boxes with, aliens, and the picture showed it. I mean, it was
Now
like,
we're talking about the craft that went back to Right Pat, right, where
yeah,
your dad worked
yeah,
in that time frame.
yeah, in that time frame. And that's, he would never talk about it. We were never, it was one of those unwritten things. You never ask. You didn't ask what he did or what went on. He worked on airplanes. That's
Hmm.
what we were told. He worked on airplanes.
Didn't say whose.
No, no.
No, but because you've had your own craft sighting above Right Pat
Mm-hmm.
on your way home from the old potting jail one night, right?
Yeah, I did. It was very, very odd, very bizarre. But when it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and Vicky was with me,
Hmm.
I, you get kind of blurry eyed because it's an hour and a half drive. And I kept asking Vicky, I said, "Are you seeing what I'm saying?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "What is that?" She goes, "I don't know." I said, well, they were over by the, I call it hydroponic farm.
Hmm.
I don't know, that's the what, I don't know, hanging water thing. They grow plants. And it's always lit up like sunshine in there. And these things were chasing it. There was three white triangles chasing each other around. And I kept turning around and looking. And I couldn't, I mean, I didn't know what was happening. And I kept thinking, okay, am I seeing things? Am I that tired from,
Well, probably you both wouldn't be seeing the same thing.
yeah. And I was so like, I mean, I was too tired to get my phone out and start recording it. I just kept watching them drive when I was driving, and I kept
Well,
blinking.
that always makes me nervous when you're squirreling while you're driving.
Yeah, and I was blinking my eyes and blinking my eyes, and I said, "I thought this." Well, going up there, we had a weird thing happen. Going up to Paulding, we were in front of a semi, and this bright light, I can't even explain it. A bright light came in front of this semi. I couldn't see anything other than it was a really bright light, and it exploded, and this light went up and it like caught underneath that, because the light that was up here was down below, like it got caught in the semi. The semi never hit his brakes. I don't even think he saw it. But that light was shining up along the side ditch. And then finally, it was like you could see like something coming up, like coming over. You couldn't tell what it was. And then the thing that really confused me was the semi never stopped. The brake lights never came on. I'm thinking, okay, what am I seeing? What am I witnessing here? Because he just kept trucking right on down the road, and this
Well, I
light.
will tell you that they do stop because I was on my way to St. Albans one night and it was dark 100. I mean, it was late. Thank God I
Mm-hmm.
had a room. But I had come through Bristol and was on my way going to West Virginia, and a truck hit a deer,
Oh,
an 18-wheeler that I was starting to pass. I backed way, way off, but it
yeah.
split the deer in two. And he stopped, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, yeah, I called it in. I I wasn't going to stop on the side of the road because he was okay.
Yeah,
I mean, he was in control of his vehicle. He was,
yeah.
you know, because I dropped back behind him when I saw the deer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt so bad for him because, he had to be tired. It was wee hours of dark 30. It was tough.
Yeah.
And, I just stayed and made sure that he had control of his vehicle and that he was okay. And then, yeah, I called it in.
Mm-hmm.
And,
But this guy never stopped. No
yeah, they,
brake lights, nothing came on.
that's
But
crazy.
yeah, and I kept thinking, okay, what is happening? What is going on? Because it was such a bright light, and you could like tell it flipped, and then it it came down and it got caught on the right front of this truck.
Like on the grill?
Yeah, and it was over to the right in the ditch. You could see this light reflecting, and there was like debris of some nature kind of flipping up, but it never came down on my car.
Hmm.
Like I said, I didn't know what it was. Just I don't know. And it was
Right.
about in the same vicinity that I saw those triangles.
Maybe they were looking for it.
They could be. I don't know. It was just so weird because the semi truck never slowed down. He just kept right on going.
Maybe he did see what it was and wasn't stopping.
That could be too. Because I couldn't see what all I could see was light. and then like this stuff flying in the air. I don't know. Besides that, in Scotland, I've had some strange happenings.
Yes, you did. And I always forget about that
Mm-hmm.
because maybe I'm because it was so bizarre. And but it's funny because when was up on that hill in the cemetery and saw you walking by yourself, I was like, I gotta go. She can't be by herself.
Mm-hmm.
A, the squirrel thing, right? As you were looking at your equipment, but B, we were kind of in the woods. I mean, I know it was a path behind a neighborhood, but we were kind of in the woods. You did not need to be, and you didn't walk as well then,
No.
so I was paranoid that you were down there.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, and then when,
Christina took that picture.
now Christina stayed up on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
I took the picture
Oh,
behind you.
I thought Christine took it.
Now she stayed up there with Rick taking his book cover photo.
Oh, okay. It,
So,
it was just so odd that,
yeah.
yeah, that was an
But we
odd.
did show I mean, because you had said that before and I didn't correct you because, you know, but Christina was up there taking pictures for Rick's book. Yeah. What ultimately became the book cover. It
Right,
wasn't it to start
right,
with.
right. Yeah,
But, it
it,
was just,
she did take a picture of me walking with my light hanging off my shirt and
yeah,
my equipment. And she took, well, everybody else could walk, not me. You know,
yeah.
my feet were so bad and my knees. So yeah, I mean, it was such a, those are the three most bizarre UFO. I don't know if you would call it
They're
an.
pretty bizarre.
You
Well,
do.
hi, April. The whole thing, if it's happening to you, it's weird, right? If it
Mm-hmm.
happens to somebody else, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always so surprised
Yeah,
when
but
we're just doing normal everyday stuff.
mm-hmm.
Scotland wasn't every day, could be without a whole lot of, being minded about.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just weird. And I think that the fact that we like everything anomalous, we're not just locked into ghosts and we're not just locked into UFOs and we're not just locked into, high strangeness kind of things. That it's just fun. And now we're into pyramids.
Yeah,
So
Doctor
Bosnia one's even.
Doctor Sam was, he was a very interesting person.
Yes.
Yeah, I he's very
Intense.
very intense. He had he was very European.
You think. Eastern European, though, very crisp, blunt,
Yep.
fast, you
Hmm.
know,
No BS.
that's true.
Whatever. Dr. Sam. I couldn't pronounce his last name.
That's all right. I'm fixing to pull it up.
Yeah. Good guy, but he he's definitely an Indiana Jones type. He likes to explore.
And he likes to wear his hat.
Yeah.
So, that makes it even more fun.
Hmm.
But, neither one of us had any idea that we were going to find out about that.
Hmm.
And much less contemplate going
Hmm.
to
Where the
Bosnia.
pyramids, yeah, where the pyramids that he was discussing were at. Um, you know, it was like he was so determined for us to go in June. He said, "You will be there in June. You will be there in June." I went, we'll see. We
Well,
shall see.
the thing about that is that it's such a it's such a wild place
Mm-hmm.
where those pyramids are kind of they're kind of tough to get
Mm-hmm.
to, and they're
Yeah.
kind of tough to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a little scary. It's
Mm-hmm.
a little cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun, and it it just blows my mind, to be quite frank,
Mm-hmm.
that that these are pyramids that were undiscovered until recently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
It
there's
was.
a pyramid of the sun, there's a pyramid of the moon,
Mm-hmm.
there's smaller ones, and it's a lot like
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot like just learning things as you go.
Mm-hmm. And it seems to be the strongest energy is either during the solstice, the summer solstice or the winter solstice, is when the most energy seems to be prominent or radiates from those particular pyramids, is what he was saying. You know, during the solstice, it seems to be when I mean, he measured it. They measured coming out of the top. I mean, that was amazing, you know. And then all of the tunnels that they were uncovering from all the mud that was in there. They keep digging it out, and the healing benefits from those tunnels are just like, oh my goodness, you know. It was quite something, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Well, and they actually promote such healing.
Yeah.
I mean, people go to
Hmm.
Bosnia just to get in that place.
Yeah. To go into those tunnels.
And
Hmm. That's what shocked me. I thought, wow, okay, that's really interesting, you know. And people go there on, I guess, volunteer work to help uncover everything that they're, doing. The expedition is not being funded only by him, you know.
no, it is not.
It's
And
by a government. It's not by anything.
should be.
The volunteers and him, Dr. Sam, you know, he pretty much fitted the bill for it, and he thinks all of the information needs to be out there. He
Well,
does.
it does. I mean, why on earth would it not?
Mm-hmm.
And when you sit there and you're like, oh, come on, this
Mm-hmm.
is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it still isn't happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the government wants nothing to do with it other than bringing tourists in for money. I mean, it brings in people coming in. So I don't know. It's what he's discovering and what he's uncovering with the lidar and the topography and you know energy surges that he keeps seeing, vertical and horizontal.
Well,
I
the
mean,
best part is the energy stream. Now, guys, I'm not kidding. This was the and I cannot think of Sam's last name. I will pull it up here just
yeah,
shortly.
I
But
can.
one of the things that blew me away is that all of these people that come and do this stuff, they're volunteers that come, like students, like, you know, they go and they do that for their summer project or whatever.
Hmm.
But the 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 his name is is Samir Osmanovic, and I say the G a lot softer than he does. So
Mm-hmm.
Osmanagic, Osmanagic,
Mm-hmm.
and you know he is bringing in kids who come to volunteer and help clear the different levels of this. This was a pyramid. They're pyramids that were covered in soil
Tree.
and trees. I mean, they're basically camouflaged pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
And these have happened in China, they've happened in Tibet, they've happened all
Mexico.
over the world,
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah. Um, and they're pulling away the dirt. The students are coming and they dig till they get down to stone, and then they move on. They've unearthed a great deal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really astounding. Look up or Google Bolivian pyramids, and he spells pyramid with an I, not a Y, but it's with the Y.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most amazing things I didn't know. I didn't know.
The Bosnian pyramids are
Hmm.
completely unknown, really. And
Well,
he
and
had a,
people are lying and saying that, oh well, y'all built those.
yeah,
What?
what?
So he's actually been accused of having his students come in and
Dig the,
build the
yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there are two, the sun and the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's several smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
And he started talking about American pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in central of the United States, you've got the Serpent Pyramid. We've talked a, a lot about America's Stonehenge up in New Hampshire,
Mm-hmm.
and there are artifacts there. It's actually thought that Vikings were there, but
Mm-hmm.
prior to that time, it's a summer solstice based kind of a location.
Yep.
But then he was talking about Moundville, which is in Alabama, and that's a school trip every year.
Yeah,
You
we
go to Moundville and you look at the Indian burial mounds. Well, those are pyramids.
yeah, serpent
Yeah,
mouth. We've got them around here too.
yeah. I mean, it is in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
That one is it's
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati
It's down
area.
that area,
Yeah,
southern Ohio. Serpent mounds. Yep, those are sacred. Those were
they are
Native Americans. But
ostensibly.
yeah, and it's
So,
you know they say it's close to a ley line and it's very powerful. That's the only
mhm.
I remember back in the day.
Back in the, did you even know what a ley line was back in the
Yeah,
day?
didn't know what it was, but they said it was on close to one.
Right.
And I know what it means now, but I didn't know what it meant back then. It's like, oh, okay. Can't see it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they have these same, I'm going to get ahead of myself here, but we'll come back. But they have these in Peru. They have these in Thailand. Thailand is full of pyramids and they're all grown up like that. They have them in China.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just where, like, the land that time forgot kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when they pull all of the growth off of them and they're actually cleaning the stones, they're finding that they are like the H block stones down in Peru,
Mm-hmm.
which you can't get paper in between them.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband, being a machinist, is mesmerized by that
Mm-hmm.
because he does CNC work, but he's also a manual machinist in his own right, and those tolerances are astounding.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't understand how anyone computer, numerically controlled material tools could possibly have done that to that degree.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I think, what brought him into Ancient Aliens. And he was the reason that I applied for credentials to that first one so that I could go and learn more about this and share it with him.
Right.
And he was waiting on me when I came out the door So we went to Santa Cruz, but I had all this information for him, and it was, I don't know. April, do you get excited about pyramids? Do you feel like that's something that takes your breath, or do you feel like it's something bizarre? I know she's out there. She's probably putting a kid to bed, but she'll show up.
The thing that I was shocked is when he explained that it predates the Egyptian
Yes, by
pyramids
a long shot.
and it's twice the size of
Yes.
the Egyptian pyramids. I'm like,
Well,
what?
until we found out that there's more to the Egyptian pyramids, but the actual above ground structure, they are larger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like he said, it's not a tomb. It's not for burial.
Mm-mm.
It's for energy.
Neither, yeah, neither are Egypt.
Yeah. Any of them.
So,
They're for energy. It's an energy amplifier, as he said.
mhm.
It amplifies the energy. And you can do that. You could do with any pyramid shape. You could do it at home. With
Yes, you can actually make yourself your own little Faraday protection thing. But in using anything, all you need is that structure,
yeah, just that pyramid structure. Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be enclosed.
Mm-mm. Can be open. Any kind of pipe, any kind of anything. Just
And you can promote your own healing using those, is
mm,
what he said.
yep, yep.
So
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I thought pretty cool.
I thought so too. And
Hmm.
I'm not really one for, I don't fan, and I actually told him, I said, I don't fangirl, and I'm not fangirling you. I'm fangirling your information because I was completely unaware of these prior to
Yeah.
hearing him speak,
Hmm.
and I I was just dumbfounded
Yeah. Me too.
because I researched this stuff, right? I
Hmm.
read everything, and I had no
Yeah.
clue
Had
what his work
yeah.
was.
Never heard of that ever. Bosnia, really? I that never even came across my. That wasn't even on my bingo card. Come on. Yeah.
Your 2025 bingo card.
Bosnia.
Yeah.
Those kind of.
Or even contemplating going.
No.
I
Now
mean,
I was doing some reading. No. I
yeah,
thought about it. I thought that would be fun, but where
it
the
would be fun in a different political environment.
yeah, right now, no. And he kept insisting that.
Don't listen to your State
Mary,
Department. It's beautiful. And I'm sure it is beautiful and that it's lovely and that all the things that he said are true. And if it's at a later date, I
I'm
will go.
sure it if
I'm not
the
going right now,
no,
but
a little scary.
well, we're two women that travel together. So yeah,
Mm,
I can just hear my husband now.
I don't
Nope.
have to worry about that. But
Yeah, but you have people that would say,
no,
nope,
nope.
with a big P.
Yeah. But it looked interesting. It really did. The pictures that he showed and all the stuff that they're doing and the lidar scans and everything that he's invested in, it's pretty amazing. I mean, really, what he's done and
Yes.
covered, even though the scientific community is poo-pooing him.
Well, because and they're not poo-pooing the pyramids. The
Hmm.
pyramids are obvious.
Hmm.
What they're poo-pooing is, he's not one of them.
Right.
And, how dare he have the audacity,
Yeah.
okay, to have something like this. He's been accused of, using his crews to build them himself. He's been accused of um,
All kinds of things.
all kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
And what gets me is these slabs. I mean, we're talking stone slabs like this thick and the size of a desktop,
Yeah.
and then a big desk. And then in between each one of them is 6 inches of perfect mud.
Hmm.
And some of it, where he gets into the cement factor,
Hmm.
is the most pure concrete ever found.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
made on site apparently.
And he's tatted, independently tested.
Yes. That
So,
was that was amazing to me.
hmm, it was. It was. I was just blown away because, the people that's, they're just being, they never even came to visit. They just throw out their opinion just because, you know.
And a lot of these are people that y'all know.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They're
yeah.
people that come into your living room and tell
Yep.
you all about other pyramids that
Mm-hmm.
are okay to talk about because they visit them. They're not who found them,
No.
but they visit them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you've got them all over Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Teotihuacan, my daughter went there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where my treble dolls came from, was
Mm-hmm.
her trip there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. It's if the political environment and the things were a little in better shape, I would feel more comfortable to go over because I would just like to see it. You know.
yeah, I'd like
Just,
to go into the tunnels. Now, guys, the tunnels are amazing as well.
mm-hmm.
And, with the Peruvian pyramids, there's a lot of underground stuff. I think
Mm,
probably with all, well, now we know there is with Egypt. Thank you, LIDAR.
yeah.
But, it's really
Right.
fascinating in that these tunnels, the metals and stone of the tunnels will heal you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Just spend
and
half an hour in the tunnels, and blood pressure goes down, uh, lung capacity. That one little girl that went in there for like 45 minutes, her lung
yeah,
capacity, I mean, almost doubled, you know.
yeah.
So it's Earth. I mean, I don't know what else to do it. I mean, you reconnect with Earth again, and it
Now you
heals.
reconnect with Earth, and certain components that come together create an electromagnetic force.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I feel like because other places heal,
Mm-hmm.
and there's usually a very interesting blend
Mm-hmm.
of elements involved to
Oh yeah.
working together, and that's what it is in these tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's cool.
It, it,
It's cool. It's mesmerizing. It's so unexpected.
mm,
It's Twilight Zone kind of things.
yeah.
It just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing place. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to go? Yeah, I want to go. Am I going to have to be single to do it? Yeah, and I'm not getting single. So, you know,
It's
at
all
least at this point, I try to talk him into coming. If he goes, it would all be great.
yeah.
And he loves that topic
Yeah.
and he loves that science. So if Bosnia tones down, we're going, I think.
Oh, it'd be okay.
Can't get him to Scotland, but he's interested in pyramids. I don't know what to say about my husband,
Well,
but safest place with the best food. Nope. War torn, pyramids, healing.
mm,
Yeah, maybe.
okay.
So it's all good.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Get to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I just and I am going to put out there that I am so glad that Kathy Martin is well and healthy
Mm-hmm.
and sassy as she ever was.
Yeah.
And, this was her first appearance since her horrible bout with COVID. It was a horrible bout with
Mm,
COVID. And then after that, when she was still weak, she was attacked by UFO debunkers
mm-hmm.
or a debunker, who
Mm.
dumped a white
Powder.
powder over her, which had horrible results.
Yeah.
And I really hope that person rots in jail.
I do too.
I I just cannot stand. This is a small, tiny woman that's about my age, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Who, she's the niece of Betty and Barney Hill.
Mm-hmm.
She has personal family experiences obviously. And
Tremendous researcher.
oh, she is. She was Stanton's research partner, Stanton Friedman's research partner.
Yeah.
And, she works so diligently.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want a book on ufology, air quotes, ufology,
Yeah.
if you want to know experiencers' histories, if you want to know case histories, if she can include them, she does.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly, she's a good human. And why anybody would take it upon themselves to act like that just blows my mind.
Mm-hmm. Because it was a nice. We had breakfast with her,
Hmm.
and she was really very. Uh, she's just a good person. I mean,
She is.
she's and just she's just a good person, and
Yeah.
you know. But we had lunch with or breakfast. Was it breakfast? No, we
Well,
had
we
lunch.
had breakfast and lunch with, we sat down with her, and then Sam brought his soup.
Yeah.
And then, and then went because he was getting ready to present because they were back to back keynote speakers. They were both the keynote.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it was so nice just to be able to catch up with her. And then, when she shared what she'd been through, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah.
I will come and protect you, you
God,
know.
so good.
So people are crap sometimes.
Oh, you think?
I know.
Kidding.
Anybody that would do something like that deserves whatever happens to them in the aftermath.
You ain't a kidding.
People have learned to not expect consequences for their actions. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that they're learning that maybe there are some now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Just do something. Well, that's on you, and you have to live with the consequences, good or bad. You have to understand that
karma's a booger.
hmm that's a crime. When you physically assault someone,
Hmm.
crime. It isn't protest, it's a crime.
Yeah. And, I mean, I feel really strongly about that. I am such a, you know, sharp edges person when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to facts. This is this, this is this, this, and this. And sometimes I can be subjective, but not really very well.
Mm-hmm.
And that stems from pragmatics,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And life history, and
Mm-hmm.
the law is the law. That comes from pure legal side
Mm-hmm.
of me. But you come from a long background of law enforcement, and we both are kind of stick in the muds when it comes to, you don't get to make your own reality, and you don't get to make your own rules, and you are not able to just go out and try to alter someone's reality to that point without there being
Mm-hmm.
repercussions available.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just one of those things. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really
The
is.
other thing that I took away with the conference was everything's interconnected.
You think?
Yeah, that's that's one of the big things that I took away was paranormal stuff, spiritual, and you know aliens and everything, everything. It's not all separate and it's not all thing. It's everything is interconnected with each other.
Mhm.
And that's one of the big things that I took away from the conference was that when the vendors and stuff like that I was talking to when you were in one of the uh,
When I was interviewing Brent,
it
probably. Well, no,
somebody
because you were out on a golf cart at that point.
yeah no this was another time I don't know if it was after I think it was after I had my astrology thing. I
Hmm.
was sitting there and a person came up to me and she wanted to know what are you interested in? I said all of it. She said, well, she said, I've been coming to these for oh, what did she tell me? Like years, years and years and years. And she said, in the beginning, you would never see like metaphysical or anybody associated with Sasquatch or any of that at these. And I laughed. I said, yeah, I think they're trying to finally figuring out it's kind of interconnected. She goes, yeah. She
Yep.
said, everything is connected to each other. So, yeah, that's what I just,
Well, yeah. And that blows me away too,
mm-hmm.
because um it used to be a little bit of woo,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um that quantum healing hypnotherapy is astounding.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolores Cannon, who
Mm-hmm.
was Nancy's mom,
Right.
and she passed,
Yeah.
but she has affected so much in the metaphysical world,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and in a positive way.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you can do metaphysics from either side of the coin.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
repercussions and responses based on what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find it so interesting that you got an astrology reading
Well,
and
yeah, it was pretty interesting.
talked me into it. And for those that don't know, this is mine. So there's all kinds of information and things, and I'm going to be, learning more about it. And the astronomer that did it was brilliant and explained to me how to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yep, I got mine right here. So,
well, then you went crazy and went and got another past life reading, which is totally you. And you've done a couple of those.
yes, and you
And
want to?
I did do one.
Yes, you
And
did.
yeah, it was so interesting to me because the first time that you did one, you were like, "Oh, I want my happiest life."
Well,
And it
no,
was happy.
wasn't my first one was not. My first
Oh,
very, very
I
blunt.
thought you got the happy one first.
No, that was my second one. Because
What
I
was
did
the first one?
the first one was when I was a child, when I was a kid, and I was just, you know, it was just pretty non-descriptive life. I mean, it was just, this grew up, and I was a guy and you were there, you were a guy, and we worked in a bank and, that type of thing. And then the second one I got was Stephanie did it. And she said, you want to know what your happiest life is? I said, oh, okay. That sounds good. And that's when I found out what
Right.
and it really was. I mean, when I was in that trance, I didn't want to come out of it. It was like I just wanted to stay. It was where I wanted to be. I was at peace. It was the life that I really, really loved, you know. But this last past life reading, I needed help with, you know, the height, bridges, that kind of thing, because sometimes when I'm by myself, it can be debilitating. I just, my palms sweat. You know, get, it's just ridiculous. And I was getting so angry with myself. So that's why I went this third time to find out what in my past has caused this, because there's no reason in this lifetime for me to act like that.
Right.
And that I found out, you know, found out what went on that causes me, you know, what
You
it,
are a white knuckle bridge rider and
I,
driver.
mm-hmm, oh yeah, or height, anything with height,
Mhm.
anything with a bridge with height. I am very, I almost feel like my heart is going to beat out of my chest. I get so scared. And that's the best way of putting it. So,
Well, now you know.
yeah, I know now. I know what is.
Does that mean I can take you parasailing?
Yeah, I can go parasailing. I've
Cool
done.
beans.
Mhm.
How
It's
did you cope
pretty.
with that, but you can't do other things?
I don't know. Like I said, when I've been up to the stratosphere at Vegas, yeah, I went clear to the top, and they said, "Come out here to the edge." Nope,
Big nope.
nope, I can't. And I tried, and I just literally froze in my tracks. Literally, I couldn't move. I was almost gasping for air. I was so scared.
Yeah.
So it's for me, I just had to find out what had gone on before for me to act like that. And it was kind of a, you know, side effect of what the life was teaching me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know, I'm going to try to do what he recommended, to write the letter, set it on fire, and let it go. You know, so that's I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on doing that. He said it won't be immediate, but it will lessen. It will lessen the fear that I currently have. You know, I'm better on bridges, but you're driving.
That's true.
Hmm. Yeah, but even though I lost you on a mountain climb, I
The
could.
Himalayas, they take people.
Hmm. I couldn't save you. You know, that was a tough one.
And yet, like
And
I
yet
told you,
you're
I'm
here.
here now
Hmm.
and I'm okay.
Hmm. And like you said, it's a soul contract. That's what they signed up for. I said, okay.
I had the toughest time with soul contracts because I've been in positions where I'm like, there's no way in hell I would have signed up for this. Right.
No kidding.
I'm seriously.
I know.
I mean, no, I
Yeah.
know that if I had an inkling that that's what that was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
nope,
Nope. Nope.
not today, not tomorrow. I
Mm,
mean, there's just no way. So I get where people are coming from with that
mhm.
concept. I'm just not sure what I think about it.
Yeah. Well, just like that
I
first.
think those are people that are wanting to take control of everything instead of accepting that life is haphazard.
Mm-hmm.
You don't come in fully conscious.
Yeah.
Your consciousness redevelops. Although I have seen some children that I know are old souls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And do I think that we recycle? Yeah, I do think that spirits recycle.
Mm-hmm. Or they're
I
learn a lesson. You know.
Well, yeah, but I'm very up in the air on that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't even I don't even know exactly what I think about it.
Well,
But I do think that sometimes it's a bunch of hooey.
like I told the guy, I said my lesson was supposed for me to um, deal with loss.
Hmm.
That's what that's the lesson, the three lessons, the one in the 1700s and then the one in World War One or two. I don't know. I think it was World War Two. And then when we were climbing the Himalayas, it was teaching me how to cope with loss. It's like, okay. They
And the
said,
fact that they all involved a different level of
yeah,
of
it
falling away from
height
you.
height of bridge. I mean, not, you know, different height of bridges that came apart, and
Yeah.
witnessed it, and the loss of people that I loved. It was, yeah, it was, and then I drowned, and the one,
That's mine.
you know,
That's my phobia.
yeah, I,
And snakes.
yeah, that, yeah, you should have asked about.
Well, it was my first time, and
Yeah.
I wanted to know what my most impactful past life was, and I
True.
found out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was totally cohesive with what I do, what
Mm-hmm.
my fascinations are.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it
So,
was definitely learning the the zodiac thing. I didn't quite understand. I do understand it better now after
right.
Janie explained it, how it's done and how the planets move. Each planet moves in a different rate and, different things that happen. It's pretty, I don't know if you want to, it's not woo. It's more science.
No, it's more science based, and it is not woo.
No, no.
However, maybe some things were woo,
Right.
but and I don't even have my phone to look up what that is. I can never remember the name of it. But but it makes a difference in my world because I have a pyramid of this too, of the black.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably in the floor right now. Everything hit the floor earlier, except for my little glow lights.
Oh.
But you know, I liked mine because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he expected me to ask for my most impactful one,
Mm-hmm.
and I was surprised too
Mm-hmm.
because he just looked at me and he was like, "Well, it was in the time of Galileo," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and in Florence, and I was one of his students and worked with him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was put to death, and everybody was afraid to continue his work, some people still did.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I know that I had doubts because I was able to present the ideas through art. And the reason I have a Nikon D90 is because I can't freaking paint. I paint with my camera. So when he said that, I'm like, maybe not, you know. And he was like, no, that's how people got his ideas out. And, I told him, like I told you after, I said, I've seen that art.
Yeah.
I have seen that art
Mm-hmm.
and been very drawn to it. So maybe what I saw was mine.
I was gonna say it was probably yours.
And so nice to know that at one point I could actually do that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because I try so hard now and I get so frustrated
Mm-hmm.
because make what I want to, I can't make what I'm seeing come through my fingers.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
just like, oh, but I can make it come through my lens. So I'm okay.
just a little more advanced. It's okay.
Yeah, but more fun with your hands.
Can't be.
But I never understood past lives really.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept going. And we talked about, you know, my parents' death
No.
because I was still struggling with one of those.
Yeah.
And it was very nice
Mm-hmm.
to have some answers on that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because I'm like, yeah, in one case it was peaceful, it was fairly calm, it was, grudgingly accepted, but accepted.
Right.
And in the other, it was just not.
Yeah.
And, it was so different
Mm-hmm.
than anything that was expected or planned.
Oh yeah.
And, you know,
Oh yeah.
I was glad that he had skill sets to address that too. This guy was so versatile, very nice.
Oh yeah. Very, very,
And,
very kind soul.
he did my past life and he helped with my mom and he did some other stuff. And he
Mm-hmm.
didn't charge me anything really, just
Mm-hmm.
for the past life. And I'm like, but we took up time. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I'm about to go home. It's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all,
But, it was just so interesting because I 110% do not do astrology
Right.
because I've never understood all of. And now, one of my favorite things is that there's charts over here
Mm-hmm.
that she gave us that we can Google
Mm-hmm.
and say, what happens if this is here then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, girl, let me tell you, you know,
And she
and
said
that's what I needed.
hard. She said, you can call me anytime or email me.
Yes,
Or if you have
yes.
any questions, she said, I'll help you.
And she's so gracious.
Yeah, she was such a sweet lady.
Yeah.
She's just a couple years older than I was because she says, what's your birth date? And I so told her 1957. She said, well, I was born in 1954. I said, well, you're not that much older than I am. And she's a Taurus.
Ah, well, that's probably why I like her. So,
Yeah, I was, when she was talking about facts and figures and detail and stuff. And I just started laughing. I said, oh, I understand that.
and you knew I didn't.
I know. You
I don't.
go
I'm
by
getting. I'm
chance?
getting better with my patience with that.
Hmm. I know.
I am so much better with my patience. I just about have to be.
Hmm.
But while this is still intricate, it's still something that you can take and work with.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Hmm.
I had to ask her because
Hmm.
I've never had this done. I was like, what exactly does this help me with?
Yeah.
What what do I do? How do
With
I take this forward? What do you do with it?
hmm.
And she's like, well, it's more of a guide for how the different sides of you come together and they create this reality,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I just thought, okay,
Hmm.
well, we'll roll with that. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah. She really surprised me. She said probably the last 4 years everything was turning on a dime for you. I said,
Mhm.
yes, it was.
Yeah, and she picked my period of life where that had happened.
Hmm.
There were a few of them, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, how does that tell you that?
Yeah.
She was like, well, when this is in this house and this happened there and da, 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 da. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm totally picking that up.
Yeah.
So, but
Because
I
that
will.
same thing to me. She said, in your 50s, she was looking at my chart. She said, something major happened. I said, well, a lot happened and when I turned 50.
Right.
She goes, what happened? And I told her. And she goes, oh my, okay. And she said, the last 4 years, she said, you've had to have things just turn on you, just like out of nowhere. I said, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was some things.
And you were just kind of shoved into them.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
there wasn't time to contemplate and accept. I
no,
mean,
I went,
you were going through grief
mm-hmm,
and everybody is arranging you
mm-hmm,
and nobody's taking you into consideration at that time.
nope.
And, because I was about ready to drive up there. I was so over all of this,
Yeah,
well, obviously you have to do this. Well,
yeah,
can we talk about it? Because I just need some processing time,
yeah. And
and nobody allowed you to have that.
nope. So,
April, if you ever come to an event, you let me know where you're going and I will meet you there, girlfriend. But, you know, but it's just so interesting that that stuff shows on a paper chart.
yeah, that's what she talked.
I mean,
Yeah.
on a chart.
She said that moon, she said, or that planet is almost out of
Saturn.
Saturn, is almost out. And she said, once that completely moves out, she said, that flipping on a dime will stop and
Hmm.
things will happen, but it'll be where it's what you want.
Yep.
I said, okay, I get it. She goes, yep. She said, and it's, from now until I think she said February or something.
I just saw, and that's what made me think of this when you just said that.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a meme that said every planet is moving into free.
Mm-hmm.
There's no retrogrades,
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
retrograde. And I am like, praise God and thank you, baby Jesus. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
because this has been a tough year. It's been a
Yeah.
tough 2 years.
Oh man. For me, it's been the top 4 years, but I made it. You know,
You
pretty.
did.
Yep. I changed. I've changed. I'm a different person.
You're a very different person. And, I think you can thank the paranormal for that too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. I've met a lot of, I think, soul connections with everything
Yeah.
that I'm finally coming into my tribe.
Well, you have certainly found a tribe. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's one you want to keep with, but, hey, we're
Hey.
here.
It,
We're all here.
yes.
So,
And you reintroducing the water to me again. Yeah. So
well, that's something else that's pretty woo. And, but it's not.
no,
We both had tremendous water levels in our reading.
she,
And,
that's what she kept saying. She said, you have got to have gifts. She said, you have so much water. She said, it's overwhelming how much water you've got. And I said, well, I said, I got reintroduced to water and I forgot how much, I don't know, I guess my soul missed it and
mhm.
did there.
Well,
Uh,
other than that drowning thing,
well, yeah,
but, other than that.
yeah.
But, that's one of the things that when I mean, I could not get you down there fast enough when you were going through all of your stuff.
hmm
And, we had to get your mom situated. We had to get
Oh, yeah.
your life situated and stuff. And finally, I told David, I said, I'm taking her to the beach.
Mhm.
Just we're going to the beach.
Yeah.
And, and he was fine with that.
hmm
He thinks it fixes me all the time. And it does.
And it does.
But, he looked at me one day, my sweet, loving husband that, you know,
Yeah.
definitely not the least bit woo and who just supports me in all of my crazy endeavors, looked at me one morning and he said, I'm getting you a house down here. You are a different person when you are near the water.
Oh, yeah. hmm
And it's funny because I don't do dirty water.
Right.
We got a house on a lake.
hmm
And I was like, I pulled up one day and there was a water moccasin on the big rock in my slough.
Nope.
Done.
We're
I
done.
mean, I had kayaks sitting out there. I wasn't getting in that kayak. Not a chance in hell I was getting in a kayak that had been sitting outside.
Nope.
No.
Not happening.
And because that is my phobia.
hmm
I didn't even have to ask. I know I had to die by 5 different lifetimes by snake bite. But, it is what it is.
Oh, yeah. I know.
But, you know, and he did. And I get to share that sometimes with my friends.
hmm
And that was perfect.
Oh, yeah. It was, like I always tell you when I go down, we don't have to do anything other than eat and go to the
Yeah.
beach. And I'm good.
And we're good at both of those.
hmm
So,
10 top any time of the day.
yes.
Yes. That's
Yes.
so.
But
And photos. Oh, yes.
And, it's a pretty good place for ghost hunting too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've had 3 good hunts down there.
hmm
Well, except for the one that was hotter than sweaty stuff. Oh my
Well,
God, that was hideous weather.
yeah, that was in July. It was pretty. I mean, I had sweat.
End of July going into August.
I had
It
sweat
was,
down my back. It was not fun. And then you telling me that don't go in the back. because there's snakes that hide back there in
They
the.
live in the walls. They go into. We were at Fort Morgan, guys, which is a great haunt if you ever go.
Mhm.
And I had seen footage from one of the paranormal teams that I knew. They're out of Lillian, Alabama, and they had a picture of a snake crawling up the wall behind an investigator. They were using night vision. That's how they got it. And the snake was, they stay on walls.
Hmm.
Oh my
Nope.
God.
And then you
So I'm done with touching any wall
don't
outside.
go back there. Don't touch the walls. Stay away.
And don't, because they crawl in through the crevasses where some of the plaster might have chinked or
Yeah,
something.
came out. Yep. And so that was a little freaky. I was always looking over my shoulder.
Well, I never took you in there.
No, we
So
walked.
we were, but they're out in the little moat area and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the South
yeah,
and it's hot and snakes move when it's hot.
yes.
So, nope.
The other times was okay. The other time, yeah.
Yeah. But we also got to, what was the name of that house? Sturdivant?
Um, isn't that bad? I can't remember.
Can you see your text with Mark?
If I
So,
flip my phone and go in, you won't.
well, that's okay. I'm pulling it up.
I can't remember the name of
It's
it
okay.
because the pictures that I
It's
took,
an old antebellum home,
yeah,
and
it,
we
it
got to go and do stuff, and
mhm. We
it
did get
was.
interaction. I got a lot of interaction. It was pretty.
Mhm.
That was
We
pretty.
have Mark Elliott Fultz with us, who is the
Mm,
best psychic going,
yeah.
and he really is the best psychic going.
Oh yeah. I
But
trust definitely.
I would have liked to have had him with us when we were in Eureka Springs.
Oh
Guys, we bought tickets for a golf cart tour,
yes.
and it was going to be so cool. I was so excited, and I wound up working at the time of the tour
Hmm.
unexpectedly. So Lori had to go without me. But
Hmm.
there were these gentlemen that we had seen around the event and stuff. And
Hmm.
so she wasn't by herself, just with the driver.
Yeah.
But she went, and I've always, because um, interview with the Crescent manager was
Hmm.
supposed to happen, and we didn't get to do it.
Hmm.
But the driver told you that we didn't want to investigate the Crescent, didn't he?
Yeah. He said the crescent is haunted. Don't get him wrong. He
Sure, it is.
says there are
But
spirits in there, but he said the one that's really haunted is the basin, which is downtown.
yep,
That
Basin Park Hotel.
yeah. He said that one is definitely haunted. He said
Yep.
he doesn't like the paranormal, but he said, I guarantee you this one has activity. That's he said, I've been told that many times. He said, do I want to find out? No.
It was so true.
Mm, yeah. I just laughed. I said, I've been all over. He goes, have you really? I said, oh, yeah. I said, I've been lots of places and investigated lots of different things. And I have equipment. I said, I didn't bring any this time because I wasn't thinking paranormal.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I think there's there's a tour that they have there that they have their own stuff that you can use. I said, oh, okay. Well, lo and behold, my phone pulled it up. And they did. They had their own equipment. They had their, you could just go meet up there at 9 o'clock. It was only supposed to be an hour and a half.
She was having fun with us, though.
Yeah, she enjoyed because, we're not newbies. We've been doing this a
Yeah.
minute.
A hot minute.
Hmm. And
Well, what got me was, and guys, I could not get because it's a MOV file, not an MP4. So I'm going to have to do some finagling with that because I couldn't convert it, but I'm working on learning how. But I've got footage in the grand ballroom, and I'm going to tell you at
Mm-hmm.
the end of that grand ballroom session, I had gone into the front room, into the foyer by the bell.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm asking questions and getting responses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear you saying, ding, ding.
Yeah, say
And
ding,
it ding, dinged.
and it
And
did.
then it went back to answering my stuff. And I'm like, okay, okay. Because I heard the
Cl-
lady said, well, I didn't hear the second one. You said, I did.
Oh yeah, I did.
So, and I heard it too
Mm-hmm.
because I had it on my video.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, so that was cool because I have your validation for that.
Mm-hmm. And
But,
Clive, it was Clive, and she got an amazing
oh
capture.
my God, I wish that I had something that cool.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
a
we've had cool stuff, but that was swinging.
yeah. I mean, you could see him. I mean, really see detail
Mhm.
of
His full face. I mean, the full structure,
yeah.
he's looking out the window.
Clothing. Oh yeah. I mean, it was, but he was transparent, but you could see him standing
Hmm.
sure as the world. And the next one, you could see him like he turned around. It was like,
Yes.
holy mackerel. And she said, I didn't know I had it until I reviewed my footage. She said,
Yep. She was just going through pictures,
mm-hmm.
and there he was.
There he was.
That's how I usually find my stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't always review everything.
Mm-hmm. But it was, I mean, we started out, holy moly, it was hard to get. Well, you
Yes.
had both been to places where um, there's a lot of wiring.
A lot
So
of wiring, a lot of, yeah,
old
we were
wire.
on the second floor where the barefoot ballroom is,
Yeah.
and we were in the ballroom. And in fact, let me come up here. This
Yeah.
is the barefoot ballroom. There's
Mm.
a dance there every year, and it's really a big room.
Oh,
And
yeah.
down here is where it goes outside.
Hmm.
And then for scale, this is what it looks like when it's all decked out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space in there. It's a huge room.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's on the top of the hotel.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And this is actually the hotel itself. Right here
Hmm.
is the restaurant there on the second floor.
Yep.
And we were on the sixth floor
Hmm.
where
Clear.
those other windows are, the full windows with in the turret and stuff.
Hmm.
So that is the Base and Bark Hotel
Hmm.
Park. Blah, blah, blah. So then in the ballroom, it looks great and it looks perfectly smooth. They had Elvis's car up there and they had to take it out because it was warping the floor a little bit and they had to do repairs.
Yeah.
So then the cool part is that when it's dark, it's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a little girl who
Yeah. There was
just loved playing with the cat balls.
Elizabeth.
And
Mhm.
well, I'm going to put those videos up on my YouTube. So you can just search YouTube Cat Hobson. And it was astounding
Mhm.
because this woman said, first of all, she had the little flashlights. She had a
Mhm.
lot of ghost stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So the flashlights turn off and on just like K2.
Mhm.
And so
The
she,
candles, all of the things.
yeah, the candles were neat. I like that because that was what gave us our first inclination that there's spirit here.
Mhm.
And because she's got the cat ball, and there's a little girl named Elizabeth
Mhm.
who is in that ballroom.
Mhm.
And so if you throw the cat balls, she makes circles. She
Mhm.
makes great big circles. She makes little bitty circles. She
Mhm.
is so proud to make her circles. It's cute.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she did that. And finally, everybody else started doing something else, and I'm just over there by myself. I'm like, "Can I throw these cat balls?"
Yeah.
Nobody said no, so I'm like, "Here, Elizabeth, you want to play?" Joe.
We can play.
So I just kept doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my favorite
Mm-hmm.
thing was interacting with her because we went down. Well, we went on down the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
heading into a room back here at the end. I'm
Mm-hmm.
using my pointers so like you can see it, but it's back there. And there's a room, there's a fire, and a
Yeah.
mother and child were caught in that room.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, there's a man in the area that they call Cowboy. I guess he wears a cowboy hat.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had, it was just crazy because the mother and child in that room don't like him.
Yeah.
But ostensibly, he's supposed to be there to protect him. And they're like, nope, he is so not.
He is not.
So, that was just one of those things that make you go,
Hmm.
you need to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And since that wasn't my business to do that,
Yeah.
um, we were experiencing this with two other people who had been at the Crescent the night before.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
were not really all about doing this,
Yeah.
or not with us,
Yeah.
or with the lady. I mean, she
Yeah.
was very gregarious and kind and very excited,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was fun.
Oh yeah.
But it was, and it wasn't like the K2 sessions
No.
that we had with Elizabeth. It was more of
Energy.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was an interesting room,
Well,
really.
and you had the session with the rods, and so did I.
Hmm. The
And
rods were cool,
yeah, she had
very
different.
interactive.
Yeah, and the one was it was it crossed right around just crossed right
Hmm.
neck like something was hugging it.
Hugging your neck.
Hmm. And the tour guide, I can't think of her name, the
I want to
brain.
say Susan, but I'm sure I'm wrong.
She said that that happens to her a lot, and she thinks it is. Was it Charlotte
Hmm.
was hugging her,
Yeah.
and
I don't remember her mother's name, but she was Charlotte.
yeah, Charlotte, and then Elizabeth comes down to play, and Charlotte won't leave the room,
Hmm.
you know, and Elizabeth tries to get her, and she said she can't. There's ghosts in the hallway,
Yeah.
and but it was very odd that it kept around my neck, and I'm thinking, well, either she's scared of the two people that were in the room with us, or the two people in the room and that cowboy guy was there, and she was hanging on because she didn't want to be close to those, to the people
That
that,
energy.
yeah.
Well, I will say that that guy was, he was by the door of
Mm,
that room, and he had the little red top go stop EMF readers.
yeah,
And so, anyway, he was using that, and
the sensor, yeah,
it
was,
was going off and off and off the whole time.
yeah, the
And
whole
I
time.
was just like, well, that's different. I did not, hey, Tom, I did not realize that they were getting that much activity and really until I went back to my video
Hmm. Oh yeah.
because, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or,
They didn't seem to be too impressed, but I thought, wow.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't impressed
No.
at all.
No.
But it was um, it was a lot of fun in that there. But I felt like I wasn't real keen on that room. It felt like there had been a fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt
Hmm.
off.
Yeah. It was just very odd, it was an odd feeling in that room. And, we had the dead bell in there and it was dinging a couple times, you know.
That dead bell was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But, that's why I give people laugh when I have my bills that I give away. And I
Mm-hmm.
give them away because I get activity with mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I'll have some more with me again at Gatlinburg
Mm-hmm.
or Gettysburg, Gatlinburg.
Getty-
Not going to Gettysburg. I mean, not
Gatlin.
going to Gatlinburg to investigate, going to Gettysburg.
Yes.
But, I'm also going to be doing a Skywatch tour
Mm-hmm.
kind of a thing. And just kind of a CE5, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you want to come out there and watch and see, you're welcome to call them to you
Mm-hmm.
if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm going to be doing in Gettysburg as my, you know, fun thing to do for people. But I digress. So if you're at Gettysburg Battlefield Bash and you want to come out and watch the sky for UFOs with me, you just come on, baby. We will have a good time.
Well, you'll have fun.
And I will have a little telescope, a little handheld night vision scope,
Mm-hmm.
and you're welcome to use it. I got to figure out how to make it not smell like petroleum, but we'll get there.
We'll
My
get.
son says used on. Oh, my telescope? No. But I digress.
Yes.
But, I just thought that it was cool that guy was getting all that activity in that room
Mm-hmm.
and we were just having a good old time.
Oh yeah.
And, but now I'm hungry. Tom McNicholas was cooking pork chops. Ah, man after my heart.
There you
But,
go.
the best part to me was my favorite part was the ballroom.
Yes.
Okay.
The entry
However,
part was the basement.
well,
The
that's where we're going next, maybe.
the
Let's
rabbit.
see.
The
Let's see
rabbit.
what I can do here. Now, there's a couple of pictures here,
Oh.
and these are not my pictures,
Oh, okay.
but we have got that's the hallway. This is now. I did not. Nobody wanted to climb this.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
because this picture is a lot neater looking than what it really looked like.
Oh yeah.
This is the this is looking from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
At the top where you see the wooden slats, that is
The
the
hat.
doorway
Yeah.
up
That's.
in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
This stairway was an escape hatch
Mm-hmm.
for mobsters.
Mm-hmm.
If the revenuers or the police came in, they could open that floor and be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I I wussed out, guys. I completely wussed out.
Gotta go down. Thing.
It was a dangerous staircase.
Yeah.
However, this is what it took you to.
Mm-hmm.
You
And you
came
can come
down.
in through the lobby. Is where
Yes.
you came through.
Yes. So the bar was on the second floor. This was on the ground floor behind the lobby.
Yeah.
And this is a very neat and clean picture of the speakeasy.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the roof is a little rough.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't meant to be partied in all the time.
No.
It was a refuge if the revenuers were after you.
Mm-hmm. There's also a
But
speakeasy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, this hotel is known for weddings.
Oh yeah.
They're known for ghost hunts. They're known, I mean, Eureka Springs is a biker haven. They have rides through there all the time. Not in the wintertime.
No.
Do not try to get up on that mountain in a big snow
Oh
because you will be found in the spring.
yeah.
But it was so neat, and the different levels of activity
Mm-hmm.
that we got, you know, we were getting K2 hits down here.
Oh, so many.
And when Lori, because Lori always likes to tell them she's a cop, a law enforcement officer.
Well, I just told them that I was in law enforcement for a long
30
time.
years.
Hmm.
And that was plenty of, that's all they needed.
And I,
Like,
yeah, well, like I told them, I said, I will respect you if you will respect me. I don't intimidate. So don't even
yeah,
try.
she was so strong with them.
Yeah. I said, I will respect you if you will respect me. If you do not respect me, then I will not respect you. And I could tell they were aggravated with me, but they didn't give me any guff. I mean, they didn't call me the B word or FB word or anything like that. Like the tour guide said, she's been called many times. And I said, well, they they're just mobsters. I mean, they were from Chicago. You know, they they worked for oh, who was it? Which of the mobsters? I can't
I
think.
don't remember which one it was.
I don't know, one of the mobsters out of Chicago.
They were out of Chicago.
Yeah, and they had a lot of connections with it, and that bootlegging and everything came down through there. And we asked if anybody died or if they killed anybody down there, and
Oh,
K
yeah.
pegged cats K2 pegged
Yes.
on some of that. And then I asked they were if they were afraid to leave, and my K2 pegged.
Yep. One thing you did not ask, do you recognize my energy? I
No,
was just waiting on it. I was waiting on it
the
because
o-
that would have been the room.
no that
So,
the
and I was so glad you didn't.
yeah, the only thing I asked, I said, well, this is a standard question that a lot of times I ask when I'm in a jail or a prison, or where the mob, or I said, do you like redheads? And t- it pegged
Yeah.
redhead. So I thought, oh, okay, well, then I'm all right, I guess. But they were not. I didn't get pushed. I didn't get my hair didn't get pulled. I didn't get any of that, like she said has happened down there. But
Well, that's one of the reasons also that I didn't want to climb that ladder
yeah,
because it wouldn't take much to cause a slip on that.
no, 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 no. That picture that you had, it didn't look that.
It didn't look that good, did it?
No, not.
Well, I mean, seriously,
Mm-hmm. Well, it's what they.
there's nothing to climb on.
No, they said that like they said, the bar's name is what is it, Jackrabbit,
Hmm.
something like that,
The
Jackrabbits,
rabbit hole.
or the Rabbit Hole. Yeah,
Yeah, that's called the rabbit hole.
yeah, Rabbit Hole Bar or something. But yeah, I mean, it was very heavy there compared to the ballroom.
Yes.
The
Well,
energy,
because the spirits that were down there,
yeah,
they were not the kind that you want to really hang out with.
no, no, not at all.
So,
No.
I mean, those were sketchy. Oh, Tom McNicholas said Capone,
Okay, that's who it was. Yeah.
but I was just so surprised that we got that level of activity
Mm-hmm.
everywhere we went, and
Oh,
that, and I mean, seriously,
mm-hmm.
it does not look like a big,
Yeah.
haunted location. I
Yeah.
think that red one back there in the back looks more like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. I can't.
But I love, and if you go on the street and go back down this road, go behind that red building, there's a really cool place called the Grotto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yum.
And I kept telling Lori, we're going to have to go to the Grotto.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to the Grotto. I'm not leaving without going to the Grotto. And she thought I was crazy.
Yes, I did.
She did.
Because
And,
we ate Mexican there, and it was really yummy.
it was. And
Mhm.
and it has, I found it by mistake the first time I went up there.
Mm-hmm.
And Jane Florida was with me. And we had, I met her there. I didn't know her yet, but it was freezing cold. This was the first time I haven't had to go buy warm clothes. Seriously. But I finally learned, guys. Takes me a while, but once it get there,
Mm-hmm.
it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
But because I had stuff, but it was so interesting because we just happened to see the sign and went in here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little bitty, teeny tiny,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 tables,
Yeah.
not more than 10 or 15 for sure.
Not.
And and somebody got engaged while we were there
Yeah.
this year, and it's that kind of place.
Mm-hmm. And it's
And
built to a grotto. That's where it's
yeah,
built.
I mean, there's actually a grotto in it. It's built
Mm-hmm.
around it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're ever in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, you
Mm-hmm.
need to go there.
They have
But
the
don't pay me
best.
to say that. I just mean it.
They have
So,
the best filet mignon.
yes.
Oh, and
And
this.
the honeysuckle creme brulee.
Yeah, that was so good.
We shared that.
Yeah, it was just enough. And I had
Was
this
not
grilled
enough.
asparagus. Oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
was.
I had a baked potato.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't eat very much of it, but it was so good
Mm-hmm.
because I don't eat baked potatoes as a rule
Mm.
anymore.
But it was definitely worth the money.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
I'm going to tell you every aspect of Eureka Springs is worth the money.
Oh
The
yeah.
conference is not an expensive conference to go to. You fly into Fayetteville, you can take a shuttle
Mm-hmm.
from the airport up to Eureka Springs
Mm-hmm.
and take a shuttle back.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that we were going to be doing some stuff, so I went ahead and got a car because you hadn't seen around.
Yeah.
We needed to see around.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really, the city is special.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it really is like a,
Step
it's
back in
just,
time.
it is a step back in time.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
interesting thing is that if you want to go there, 85% of the houses are Airbnbs.
mhm,
And if you got one close to town, it's everything is walkable.
it is. Except
Very,
for maybe the groceries
yeah, the groceries are out of town and the bank, that type of thing. But
up the top of a very steep hill if you're walking.
yeah,
Take a cab
uh,
to the grocery store.
yeah. But the if the people that are from Ohio, it reminds you of Yellow Springs, is what it reminds.
It's very much like Yellow Springs.
That's what it's very
The vibe, not the
art.
visual, but the
No,
vibe.
the vibe, the art. There's art everywhere, and
Hmm.
food. It's a foodie's paradise, really.
We ate at a Mexican joint and it was good.
Oh yeah, it was so good. And even the hotel where we stayed at,
Yep.
there was phenomenal.
Yes.
Breakfast was awesome. It was all.
And they don't do a breakfast bar. They'll do a salad bar for lunch and dinner, but the breakfasts are, I'm boring. Bacon, eggs, toast,
Yeah,
or just eggs and toast, whatever. But there's
pancake.
a lot to choose from. Lori got the chocolate chip pancakes.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Couldn't eat it all, but oh my goodness, I tried. It was yummy.
It looked yummy.
It was.
And I'm not a big chocolate chip pancake fan, but the
Hmm.
pancakes look good.
Hmm. Yeah, they were pretty tasty.
Yeah.
But they had a real cute shop in there. You got some sunglasses and a
I
necklace.
actually have my necklace on with
Yay.
my earbobs,
Hmm. And
but
it's just really, and the people are just super,
yeah.
super nice people. I mean, they really are. They bent over backwards. They helped us out like crazy.
Yeah.
Just so
And
nice.
they're just like that with everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, it's really something because if you're accustomed to going to the great big modern blowout in a
Mhm.
assembly meeting place kind of
Mhm.
thing, UFO conference. You don't get up close with the talent; they're protected.
Mhm.
Um, if you do get a Q&A session, it's very tough to
Mhm.
get your question in.
Very limited.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if you're going to like an ancient aliens thing,
Mhm.
they do them all over the country now. They're
Mhm.
wonderful people that participate. They're put on very professionally now. The first one was a little rocky. I was covering that one.
Mhm.
They learned fast, and then they moved from Santa Clarita down to the Pasadena Conference Center that was still too small. And I mean, because it's a phenomenon.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
UFO conferences, especially if you have an ancient aliens person, are a phenomenon. And if you have all of the ancient aliens people, it's a logistical nightmare for the
Yeah.
coordinators. It's very hard to accommodate everything with that. There's so many people that want to be there. But with Eureka Springs, there's a lot of people that want to be there.
Mhm.
It's a limited thing.
Mhm.
They have two keynote speakers. They have, I mean, it's just 3 days.
Mhm.
It is always at the host hotel.
Mhm.
It is just, it's the best Western of the Ozarks.
Mhm.
And it is, it's fun. The little event center at the bottom of the hill is great. It can
Mhm.
accommodate hundreds of people and does.
Oh yeah.
The vendor area is fantastic. They have everything.
Oh
You can
yeah.
get stones, you can get readings, you can buy books, you can buy Bigfoot
Oh.
stuff, you can buy alien stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Then, you have all of the readers, you have the vendors. That's right. Stanton sold out all his stuff, and we just sat down there for the rest of the day when he was there.
Yeah.
And because he was tired, he got his merch sold. He was ready to talk, and I was
Mhm.
always ready to talk. So it was a
Oh.
good time. But the wonderful thing about Ozark that makes it to me so special is the accessibility
Mhm.
with the speakers.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's um there's a meet and greet every night. They used to do a speakers dinner
Mhm.
where, it was very sit down at your table and somebody be there with you and very rigid as they get.
Yeah.
And it's a very laid back conference. But now they just do a meet and greet where
Mhm.
the speakers are just kind of hanging out with people. And if you have a question, you can go find them and, get your stuff
Questions.
handled
Mhm. And you get to talk to them and have a drink if you want to drink with them. And it
and
was.
get questions answered. I mean,
Mhm. Oh
you
yeah.
know, in Dr. Sam's case, he's trying to fund this dig.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a tremendous thing that he has going on.
Yep.
And, you know, his name is Dr. Samir Asmanovich. And he goes by Dr. Sam.
Yeah.
And he's really working very hard to get this dig done.
Mhm.
And I think that, you know,
The fundraiser that he wants. The June.
yes, it's going to be is it a week tour?
Yeah. Mhm.
And you get to be in those healing tunnels as many times as you want to, which is a big deal.
And there's
They've had some miraculous healings there,
they have
and
concerts. They've got. It's just supposed to be like a, I don't know, like a fair, because there's concerts and you can walk around the parks and you can, there's so
it's
much.
going to be a to do
Yeah, but it's his fundraiser to get people there to,
to make people aware of these beautiful pyramids that
mm, yeah,
nobody's known were there.
yeah, yeah. It was it's pretty incredible. The pictures and the stuff that he's, you know, come up with. And like I said, it's all private funded.
Hmm.
Nothing is public. Nothing, no government funding, no nothing. It's all private. And which is
And
him.
and it's very cool, because he's been able to retire, and this is what he does now.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that kids want to come and donate their time and work on this archaeological project, 'cause that's what it is. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
not mystical. It is mystical, but
Well,
it's archaeology.
yeah.
And so you can go and work on the site. You can go and help with the dig, with
Mm-hmm.
clearing the earth off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom says he's been to the Christ of the Ozark statue. You saw that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
That was
with
a golf cart tour.
yes,
He took
but
saw it.
with Sam, you know, the fact that he can bring people in, do
Mm-hmm.
this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
have so much fun,
Mm-hmm.
and people love to go there and bust their butts working.
Oh yeah.
So, and there are people my age down to high
There's
school to college. I mean,
they
people,
had an 85, he was talking about an 85-year-old gentleman that would come, and
yeah,
they would assign him what what he was capable of doing, and he
hmm,
next year, you know,
yeah,
it felt like he was, I guess had a project, or he had a purpose,
hmm.
help.
Everybody needs a purpose.
Yeah. And Bosnia pyramids are a purpose if you really want something.
Exotic.
Yeah. I mean,
And if you want to go at a place that actually has energy beams
mm-hmm,
coming out of the top of them interacting with the moon
mm-hmm.
and with the sun,
It's
and
solstice is when he wants us to come.
mhm, that'll be in June.
Mm-hmm. In June, he said, "You will be there." I said, "Well,
Well, he better
I
be manifesting some stuff
you
because
will."
that's Scottish time.
Yeah.
Not really. We're not going to Scotland this year that we know of.
Well,
That we know of.
before we
So
go to the Ireland or after the Ireland,
after, probably after,
probably after the Ireland tour. So that's okay.
it is okay.
Hmm. I want the steak and ale pie again, and I want the banana ice cream that I had the last time.
David brought me banana ice cream.
Oh, did he? Okay,
He did. I'm like, it's just not the same without the teapots.
true.
So,
That's true.
but it's really, I just feel like, hey, we were so fortunate to be attending this conference.
Oh yeah.
It was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It was cerebral. It
Mm-hmm.
was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You could do as much woo as you wanted to, or as little.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I had the tarot reading. You didn't do a tarot, did you?
I
No.
just did the past life and then the psychic.
The
He went into the psychic mode too.
well, the you also had the astrological
Hmm.
thing, but I did do. I think you were doing your astrological when I went to did the tarot,
Hmm.
because I was just curious, because just to see. And she said she didn't need questions. She said, "I don't need a question. You don't, I'll just have you pull 10 cards out of this deck." And she said, "I will tell you what is going on or what it's showing." But she said, unless you've got a specific question. And I said, "No, I really don't. I just want to see where my life is lining up." And it was like, oh my, everything I pulled, it was like, oh my, everything connected. And I
Yeah.
was randomly going through the deck. And then she says at the end of the reading, she goes, I pull a card from either the Michael, Archangel Michael, or from an oracle deck of water oracle deck. I said, well, of course it's Michael,
Michael.
you know, and it was, and she pulled it. I didn't pull it. She pulled it. She goes, oh my gosh. She said it's falling in line with everything that I just talked to you about. I, so I
Do
took
you have that card there?
I took a picture of it. I,
Yeah.
she didn't give me the card, but she said, take a picture of this. I said, okay.
And it was so cool.
Yeah, and it says you are on the right path. It may be bumpy, but you're on the right path.
Yes.
Because that's the whole reading was that balance and path and things happening and balancing, making sure everything is okay and the strength and the courage. And she said you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. She said you may not be right where you want to be, but it's coming.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
Or
And
you're on the way.
yeah, she said don't be discouraged. So, and then that card that pulled is basically the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, I mean, you definitely got your guidance for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
Mm-hmm.
that was a most definite.
So there's no it was like, oh my. And she just kept saying, she kept looking at me. She goes, do you see these cards? I said, yeah, I don't know what they mean. She goes, they're all related. I said, you're kidding. She goes, nope. Everything in this that you're pulling, because I randomly pulled from this huge deck.
Right.
Everything was related to strength and balance and path. You know, it was like, okay. So yeah,
Yes.
I was doing that while you were doing your astrological reading.
Well, and then there was the little guy that ran away that came back.
That was
So,
bizarre. Yeah.
so if you're listening, hi Angel. But April says that she's had several readings recently,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be pretty awesome. Yours are awesome as a rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was, like I said, because when I sat down to her, I said, do I have to have a question? She said, no, you don't have to have.
Mm-mm.
She said, you can just you have to pull the cards. I said, okay. So she laid them out, and I counted 10 cards and ran them through the whole deck. I was pulling just random cards. And she just kept looking at me. She kept looking at me. I said, what's the matter? She said, all these cards that you are pulling are all to the same thing.
Yeah.
I said, you're kidding. She goes, nope. Everything is related to each other. I said, oh, okay. Interesting. You know, because I always like list, talking to other tarot readers, you know. But she kept saying, you're going to be fine. She said, I see that you're going to be okay. She said, you've got a lot of going on, but she said, you got the strength and it shows right here. You have so much strength, more than what you realize. I said, oh, trust me, darling. I know.
Well, but I think maybe you don't all the time.
Well, some days I question myself, but that's just human nature.
That
So,
is.
mm-hmm. But, I'm working my way. You know that.
I do. And guys, we are out of time. Lori, thank you for being here. I wanted to share about the Basin Park Hotel
Mm-hmm.
and the UFO conference, Ozark
Mm-hmm.
UFO conference. And so thank you for that. And to
Yes.
Carl, thank you so much for what you do. And for all our listeners, you're the reason we do it.
Yay.
And April, I hope you have a good night too. And Tom McNicholas, I'm so glad to see you. So we will see you next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good
Bye.
night.
Night.